Picture this. It's 2012, and a young woman in Mumbai just vanishes. For 3 whole years, her disappearance is a secret, kept locked away inside a powerful and prominent family. But when that secret finally starts to unravel, it exposes an unbelievable story of hidden identities, shocking allegations, and a mystery that completely gripped a nation. This is the story of the Sheena Bora case, a mystery that starts with one missing person and spirals into a dark, tangled web of family secrets. All right, let's dive in. Our story kicks off in Mumbai back in 2012. Now, this is a city of millions, but in the middle of it all, one young woman with a really bright future just disappeared, leaving behind a silence that would stretch on for 3 incredibly long years.
So that was the big question, right? Where on earth was Sheena Bora? In April of 2012, she just stopped. She wasn't answering calls. She missed work. To the rest of the world, it was like she had just vanished into thin air. And Sheena wasn't the kind of person who would just disappear without a word. She was only 24, super ambitious, and was building a great career for herself at a corporate services firm. She had a life, she had friends, and she was making her way in the heart of Mumbai.
The first person who really started freaking out was her boyfriend, Rahul Mukherjee. He couldn't get a hold of her, which was totally out of character. Then these strange text messages started coming through, supposedly from Sheena, saying she'd moved on and left the city. But for Rahul, something just felt off. The words didn't sound like her at all. He knew something was deeply, deeply wrong. But here's where it gets really strange. Despite Rahul's alarm bells going off, his worries went completely unheard. This mystery didn't spark a big investigation. It just led to silence. A deafening 3-year-long silence.
I mean, can you believe that? 3 full years. No official missing persons report was ever filed. There was no public search, no media outcry. A young professional had vanished from one of India's biggest cities, and yet there was no formal investigation. It was, frankly, just mind-boggling. And then, boom, 2015 hits, and an anonymous tip blows the whole thing wide open. This tip led the Mumbai police to take another look at an unidentified body that had been found way back in 2012 in the Raigad district. All of a sudden, the 3-year mystery of where Sheena Bora was had a horrifying potential answer.
Okay, so this is the moment the case goes from a cold case to a national obsession. The tip didn't just point to a body. It led to a series of arrests that would send absolute shockwaves through India's media and business elite. So in August of 2015, the police move in. And look who they arrest. Indrani Mukherjee, a super prominent media executive, her ex-husband, Sanjeev Khanna, and her former driver, Shamvar Rai. And the charge? Conspiracy to commit murder. Just wow.
You could imagine, right? The entire country was stunned. Indrani Mukherjee was a major public figure, married to the former CEO of Star India, Peter Mukherjee. The story was confusing, it was shocking, and then came the revelation that explained everything, but somehow made it all so much worse. See, for years, the story everyone knew was that Sheena was Indrani's younger sister. That was the public facade. But then the investigators dropped an absolute bombshell. The shocking truth, Sheena Bora was not Indrani's sister. She was her daughter. And with that one fact, the entire case was turned completely on its head.
So with that huge reveal, this perfect public image just completely shattered. And what investigators started to uncover was this incredibly messy, tangled web of family relationships, money, and all these simmering tensions that had been hidden for years. And when I say tangled, I mean really tangled. Let's try to break this down. Peter Mukherjee was Indrani's husband at the time, which made him Sheena's stepfather. But get this, Sheena's boyfriend, Rahul, was Peter's own son from a previous marriage. So yeah, she was in a serious relationship with her stepbrother, a dynamic that you can imagine created immense tension within the family. So investigators started to put a motive together.
They alleged this really toxic mix of financial disputes, we're talking property and assets, and on top of that, a deep, deep disapproval of Sheena's relationship with Rahul. The investigation didn't stop there either. It eventually widened to include Peter Mukherjee himself, who was also arrested, though he has always maintained his innocence. Okay, so with arrests made and a possible motive on the table, the case moved into the legal system. But despite all the media frenzy, the path to justice would prove to be incredibly long, and to this day, it's still unfinished.
The pace of this whole thing has just been glacial. I mean, look at this timeline. Sheena disappears in 2012. Arrests don't even happen until 3 years later in 2015. Then it takes all the way until 2020 for Peter Mukherjee to be granted bail, and Indrani gets bail in 2022. All this time, the trial itself is just crawling along in the background. And that pretty much brings us to where we are today. The trial is still in progress. More than a decade after Sheena's disappearance, no one has been convicted of her murder, and all of the accused continue to maintain their innocence. So if we step back from all the courtroom drama for a second, what's the lasting impact of this case? It's a story that has left some pretty deep scars on everyone involved and forced a whole society to ask some very uncomfortable questions.
I mean, think about it. This case completely pulled back the curtain on the hidden lives that can exist behind this veneer of public success. It exposed the destructive power of family secrets, it highlighted some really serious failures in the system for reporting missing persons, and it became this massive media spectacle in its own right.
But at its heart, when you strip away all the headlines and the drama, what you're left with is a human tragedy. It's about a young life cut tragically short. It's about a family completely fractured by secrets and allegations. And it's just this haunting reminder of the darkness that can hide in plain sight. We still don't have a final verdict from the courts. But while the legal system keeps searching for answers, the Sheena Bora case leaves all of us with a lingering, unsettling question that resonates far beyond the headlines. How well do we truly know the people closest to us?